Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is good. I got Eric Sojaj in the house. What's going on, buddy? How we doing?
We're good. Channeling my inner Sauce Gardner. Got my bucket hat on. I'm ready to roll. Let's do this, man.
Nice.
Ready.
Bringing the sauce, and we're going to be bringing some sauce right now because we did, on my old podcast, we did a segment called The Airing of Grievances, and I think we got to bring this thing back because I got some problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it. Okay, a lot of y'all don't know. Me and Eric, we are in a fantasy football league, a keeper league, and he is the commish of said league. My problem is with this man right now because I made a trade recently, and this dude has a 3-day hold on trades, man. You're killing me. Like, I just traded for Alvin Kamara, and it's like Alvin's got to pass some kind of physical to play on my fantasy team. Unlock it, man. What is going on? I got some problems with what's going on right now, man. Come on.
Hey, we just keep the rules as they are, man. Like I said, behind the scenes, we just keep the rules as the site sets them. If the player is playing on said week on the Thursday night football game or something, we will force the trade through. Otherwise, we just go through the processing time. There's a process for everything, sir. There's a process for everything. Sometimes, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I got guys doing a lot of work. They got to get everything done before your trade can go through, but it's going to happen.
Unbelievable.
Don't worry. It's going to happen.
I would drop multiple F-bombs right now if I could because it makes me angry. But nevertheless, we had some NFL trade deadline before we get into some good stuff. We know, okay, whatever. Not really anything massive went down outside of some defensive players. But the big one was Kirk Cousins, man. He goes down with an Achilles injury on an offense that we all loved. And you know me, I was a massive Addy guy, Jordan Addison, and he was my wide receiver one coming out of this draft. Now, JJ's are still on the sidelines. This impacts this entire offense. They're one of the best passing offenses in the league. And then they go and trade for Dobbs from Arizona. Okay, fine. Patch-made solutions. They're trying to save the season. But, man, how can we even sit here and suggest, even with a Nick Mullins potentially coming back, maybe Hall. I'm not a huge Jaron Hall guy. He needs a lot of time. But, this essentially drops everybody down the ranks, including Addison.
Oh, yeah, this hurts big time. Hawkinson as well. You can knock his numbers down as well. Kirk Cousins was dealing. He was willing and dealing. There's very few quarterbacks that are playing on the level that Kirk Cousins was playing at this year. So regardless of the fact that it's going to either be a rookie or Josh Dobbs or whoever, there is going to be a definite decline, right? Like the level that he was playing at was going to be hard to be reached. With that said, I'm glad that they were active. Like that shows that they're trying to keep the season alive. It shows that they value the production that Addison has given them, Hawkinson's given them, JJ continues to give them. They don't look at it like a lost season or anything like that. So that's a plus. I thought I saw some headlines that they might go after Jameson Winston, Saints backup. Yes. I thought that would have been a good pickup just in terms of the offense to keep things alive. But then I actually thought deeper into it, and I realized, Dobbs was a guy that was picked up off Tennessee by Arizona right before the season started, right? No training camp, nothing. They say this guy's like an astrophysicist. Like he can learn a playbook like that. So with that thought in mind, I'm looking at it like they need someone that can pick up their offense mid-season and take off with it. Maybe a Winston's not, the type of player that can do that. They'd have to cater more to what he's used to, whereas Dobbs seems that he can just go into a system, learn the system quickly, and then apply it. He might be underrated in that sense, right? He might be a type of player. He doesn't have the high ceiling, but maybe his floor is not that low, and it's something that is to be said. So I like the move. I like the aggression. I think it does keep Addison and JJ's and Hawkinson's fantasy value alive. So let's ride with Josh Dobbs and see how that goes.
Man, it's hard to argue that the fact of how he picked it up in Arizona, and they did move the ball. Let's be real. They looked good early on, and then obviously it didn't translate to victories, but when we're talking fantasy point productivity is kind of where we're going in this stretch anyway. I wasn't necessarily concerned with Minnesota's win-loss record overall, but this also does indicate potentially why bring JJ back. This is the other issue for a lot of fantasy managers who have JJ. Leagues that don't have IR spots. What do? You've been holding this man on the bench in hopes another 2 weeks he's back on the field with Kirk Cousins with a ripping Jordan Addison, and now you're like, well, why even push the envelope if we don't have to? Get the hammy completely right, and then, depending on where record stands, if Dobbs continues to drop games like he was in Zona, maybe they just shut JJ down and say, okay, it's a lost season, and we're just going to go to the draft and hope for the best.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go that route just because of how the season's unfolded. They were a playoff team last year, right? So there's a lot of people that are coming back that have those expectations. The coaching staff has that expectation. And then if you look at the NFC, other than the top tier, where we can talk about San Francisco because they're kind of sliding out of that top tier right now if they continue to lose games. But other than I would say San Francisco, Philly, Dallas, and now Seattle, and maybe you throw Detroit as well.
Mm.
There's a drop off, right? There's a huge gap. So Minnesota sees themselves as a team that definitely can find themselves in the playoffs, I think, just based on what the competition is, what the landscape is, right? The Rams might be in trouble right now. We don't know what Washington is. The Giants have fallen off. Like there really is a wide open gap for that next spot. So with that said, I think they might even bring Justin back because they're not going to rush him. But the fact that they made this trade, that they were this active after drafting a quarterback, I know you said you weren't too high on Jaron. I haven't watched enough tape on him to have a strong opinion on him. But the fact that they made this move this quickly tells me that they see themselves as a team that can still compete for that spot. And they might bring Justin back just just to give him that extra edge. This was a great opportunity for Jordan too, right?
Mm.
He got to play the number one spot. So when Justin comes back, you legitimately have two number one receivers with a quarterback that people are underestimating.
He can deal. I'm not going to suggest otherwise. Dobbs can at least move the ball around and make him competitive. So
Yep.
we'll see, but you know what? We're doing a little something different today. We're talking some point spread picks because me and Eric, we love ourselves some betting. We are kind of degenerates in that respect because we love to waste money. But hey, we're doing pretty good so far. And I mean, on this on the ATS right now, I am this season 63 and 59. That's 0.516 on the average, and my all-time record is 895 to 867, which is still above 50%. 508 is my record in that respect. So I am decently above. Hey, it's better than Vegas, y'all. What does Vegas give you? 48% if you're going to the table. I'm giving you 51% basically. And this guy over here, what are you doing? What's your record this year and overall?
I was batting around 52 until that week 7 debacle, and that's where I hit that 2-11 record. So right now I'm sitting under 9 games under 500. I'm at 56 and 65. I had a pretty good bounce back last week at 9-7. I think if the Ravens and the Bills would have covered how I expected, that would have been an even better week. But I think I'm getting a better idea of what's going on. Like we've been saying though, it's week to week. So
Week to week.
this is a rough year. Usually we are sitting pretty good. You're usually batting above 500, and I'm usually batting right around the same. But this is a tough year. I think even the experts are having a rough one right now.
It is tough, man. It's tough. It's the ebbs and flows, man. You're getting the weeks. I've hit 13 so far this season in 1 week, and then as low as 2 this past 2 weeks ago. So it does, man. It hurts. That's why you got to get the bank up early, otherwise you're gonna be poor. But we got 4 game picks for you in this show, so definitely stay tuned. I'm loving life, but you know what? We got another segment here because I usually love to do this. We know Dynasty football. Everybody's now, we're at the midway point of the season. You got the pretenders and you got the contenders. And when you're a pretender, it's time to start shopping your players. Sale time. Fire sale usually happens right now as you prep for next year's draft. So we got a great game. It's called Dynasty Games, and we're talking quarterbacks. Pick a side, Eric, because this is how this game operates. I know you're not necessarily familiar with it, but you're going to get very familiar with how this works. Kyler or Tua, who we doing for Dynasty games here, man? Who you keeping?
We going Tyler or Tua? I'm going Tua.
Tua over Kyler. Oh, baby.
Yeah, I'm going Tua. I'm going Tua.
Any specific reason?
I just like the connection he has with McDaniels. I think that they're going to stick together long term. I like pairing quarterback with coach. I think if you find a pair in that realm, you have an opportunity to get something long term. So I think that those two have something brewing over there. As long as Tua stays healthy, I think they're going to be together for at least the next 3 to 5. In Dynasty, the way I look at it is you want something long term and you want something that's going to be on the top end. I think those check both boxes.
Yeah, the Kyler thing is very tough for me as well. If he plays for another squad, maybe. I know we heard rumblings maybe Minnesota was in the works for a potential trade, even maybe this offseason. But I'm saying you play in the NFC North, that's cold weather. Teams outside of playing in the Dome, I don't necessarily think Kyler's going to succeed extremely well in Minnesota if he does go there, but nevertheless. Josh Allen or your boy Jalen Hurts? Oh,
You know I gotta go Jalen, and this is a good one.
Get out of
This
town.
one you can't get this answer wrong. I
No,
honestly think
it's true.
you can't get the wrong answer. I'm just gonna tell you I can't go against my boy Jalen. So I'm gonna pick Jalen. I am gonna full disclosure I'm being biased.
Fair
I
enough.
do think Josh Allen is the better talent overall if you go head to head, but I do think that Jalen Hurts is steadily ascending, and if he continues to go on the trend that I see him on, I like my odds with him.
He's the more youthful one at this point for Dynasty, so I don't hate the fact of that, but I'm being biased here too because I'm a too much Bill stuff in the back. I'm going Josh Allen, man. Josh all the way. Let's go, Bills Mafia. Your boy Lamar or Justin Herbert?
Ooh, that one's good. I'm gonna go Lamar. They both just got paid, so I know they're both stable. I like what Lamar's doing with this new offense. I like his Zay Flowers connection. I think those two are going to grow together. This is just the tip of the iceberg for those two. They're going to find somebody else. I think the Odell experiment is not. It's shown that it's not going to work out, so they're going to have to go elsewhere for that. But I do like the trio there. I'm on board with Lamar, Zay, Mark Andrews. Next 3 years, those three, they got a solid connection. I like what they're doing over there.
If they get a decent running back, because I think we're done with the J.K. Dobbins experiment as well. I think that's over. They need a running back, and then they need I don't know, can we call Zay a true number one? Because I'm almost there. It's just he's one of those guys, kind of like, you want him to be. Is he really? But I gotta still side with Justin Herbert. I think the talent there, we see in the evolution with a Kellen Moore, he's able to make this offense that much better. Has it helped a Herbert in clutch situations? No. I mean, what is he, 18 and 21 in the past, under 3 or 4 point games? Like, it's not a good thing. So he's got to figure himself in that respect. I did like what I saw with Baltimore these past 2 weeks at least, where Lamar did show a lot of more passing aptitude, and it was good. But I'm leaning Herbert in this one for these two for sure. But Sam Howell or Brock Purdy? Here's one for you.
Ooh, that's interesting. I'm gonna go Sam Howell. I'll go with your boy Sam.
Ooh.
I like the upside. I like the rushing upside he provides as well. It looks like last week he turned the corner. I don't know if that was because the Eagles secondary was just that bad or Sam Howell was that good. It was a second opportunity going against that defense. Anytime you get a second opportunity to see something, you're going to usually exploit it a little bit better. So hats off to him for doing that. And they definitely came with a better game plan that time around and took advantage of it. But I like the trajectory of Sam. You got me on board taking a better look at him. He's got the physical aptitude to do it. He just needs to, get the better O-line and maybe get rid of the ball a little quicker when things aren't working his way. But yeah, I'd go Sam Howell with that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Brock Purdy thing, everyone's dogging him because he dropped 3 games in a row, but he was playing concussed. We know this. Brock Purdy is going to be just fine. But I've been a Sam Howell truther through and through since his UNC days, so I'm sticking with Sam Howell. This is a good one, man. CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence? Ooh, baby.
Oh, I love CJ Stroud. I like what they're doing over there, but I'm definitely going Trevor Lawrence. That one, I'm 100%. Trevor Lawrence for me. I told you coming into this year, I was a big Trevor Lawrence guy. If you check my Twitter feed, I said that everybody has their consensus, and I have no negative knocks on what you see out there. Patrick Mahomes is great. Josh Allen's amazing. Justin Herbert's amazing. Give me give me my boy Jalen Hurts and give me Trevor Lawrence for the next 3 to 5 years. Those are my two guys. I'm riding and dying with them. I'm a believer in both of them and the situations that they're in. Like I said, quarterback to coach combination. I'm big on that. When you have that combination early, I think you have something that you can establish long term. So we got Sirianni, we got Jalen Hurts, and then we got Peterson, and we got Trevor Lawrence. I like those two combinations. I'm riding with those long term.
See, the safe money is definitely Trevor Lawrence. It's the safer money. If you're putting the bet down, which we like to do, that's where you should be going. I might go on a limb here, and I'm going to say C.J. Stroud, only because I truly this might be early, but the way that Houston's building, I love what they're doing. And if this next draft they hit this one out of the park as well, good Lord Almighty, I think that this team could be one of the better ones in the league and playing in a weaker division. It's like 2 to 3 years away, and it might be just 2 years away where these guys are absolute top-end competitors. For dynasty purposes, and say, okay, here, I'll put it this way. If my team is good, I'll go with Trevor Lawrence. If I'm kind of rebuilding, I'm all in on C.J. Stroud.
Okay, fair enough. I hear what you're saying, but I think everything you say could apply to Jacksonville.
True.
They're building, they're ascending, and they're actually the leaders of that weaker division right now. And everything, they're young still. Trevor Lawrence is 25 years old. Like, I see all those things that you're saying, but I can apply it to what Jacksonville's doing right now.
It's very fair. It's one of those tough ones. Pick your poison, but let's talk some game picks, man. Game pick number 1. We got Thursday night football. It is between those Titans and the Steelers. Steelers are favored by 2.5 points. ATS so far this year, the Tennessee Titans are 4-3. Pittsburgh is also an equal 4-3 record against the spread. What can we say, man? The Titans, they came out this past week. Nobody knew what to expect. They started up Will Levis. No more Ryan Tannehill. We thought D-Hop and Henry were on the trade block. They remain as Tennessee Titans. Levis looked great, man. And, okay, what was my evaluation of this man coming out of college? His arm talent, phenomenal. Elite arm talent. And what did I tell y'all about the release? It is Dan Marino-esque. The ball just rifles out the hand. It's just a beautiful release. Zip, velocity, everything you want from this man. But it was the inadequacy and the inaccuracies that was always the problem. It was not overly consistent. Yes, he did go back to college. He was playing injured, did not pan out, and everyone kind of got off the bandwagon. Because if he came out the draft the year before, everyone would have been talking about Will Levis on the top end echelons, no doubt. 19 of 29, 238, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions is no slouch for this man.
It was a hell of a debut. I got to give it up to him. I wasn't a big Will Levis truther, but I definitely ranked him high. I think I had him third coming out, to be honest. I definitely had him ahead of Anthony Richardson just because I thought in terms of their college production, in terms of the games played, he had done more at the time. So I was more of a believer of him being NFL ready than Richardson coming out. So I had him ranked, I think relatively fair. And then he kind of blew my mind with what he did there. Now I want to give some of that credit to Mike Vrabel. Like, hats off to him for playing a little cat and mouse, talking about, we don't know who we're starting. It might be Malik. Malik might play half the snaps. Malik, my ass, is going to play half the snaps. He knew what he was doing. They knew what the practice thing was. This was all gamesmanship just to keep the defense off guard, in my opinion, and it worked, right? They didn't know what to expect from a little Levis other than their college tape. And if they didn't go back to, previous years when he actually had his full offense around him, then they weren't ready, and it showed, right? He's throwing up bombs to D-Hop, got away with a PI on the first one, in my opinion. But other than that, it was just a show that he put on, and I think that we might need to buckle up and stay tuned for a Will Levis show here. This guy might be something.
Ooh, and
he really might be something.
Remember what we said in the offseason? We give a guy like Treylon Burks a true franchise quarterback, and sky's the limit. So we haven't even scratched the surface on that yet, and we'll see. What do we say about young quarterbacks in their first game? Everybody doesn't have film, so they're able to simplify the matchup, and then the young quarterback with talent can kind of at least dissect the field and do some damage. 4 TDs is nothing to sneeze at, but yes, you got a guy like D-Hop making the catches. Now you got at least one, game film on the man, and now you can appropriately attack him. And he's facing a very stout Pittsburgh Steelers defense that will bring the bum rush with a TJ Watt and company. So, I mean, Pickett, he's suiting up in this contest as well. Apparently, he's good to go even with the ribs and all, and Najee's still running through mud. I mean, how do you foresee this? 2.5 points in favor of the Steelers at home? It's a very interesting spread.
It is. I can see why it's leaning Pittsburgh's way. Just at home, Mike Tomlin, the tradition, rookie quarterback, all those things. But it's an interesting one. Are we picking it right now? Should I go ahead and make my pick? Or
take your pick?
I'm gonna go with Tennessee on this one. I won't lie. I'm taking Tennessee plus 2.5 on that one. I am scared. Mike Tomlin is a tough guy to bet against. On a short week, he'll have something that Will Levis has never seen before. I'm sure he's gonna, it's not gonna be a 4 touchdown, 0 interception game. Not against the Steelers defense. Not on a short week. I don't see him having that type of performance. But granted, he didn't even do what he does very well, which is run. I think he ran 7 times for 11 yards. So his legs weren't even a part of the big game last week, where I think he'll definitely try to use that more this week as they try to shut Derrick Henry down. So I'm riding with Tennessee on this one. I just don't like what I see in Pittsburgh on offense. Love what the defense is doing, although Mika Fitzpatrick got banged up, so that could be something.
He's out.
But the offense is just I don't care who's playing quarterback. It's been terrible. I don't care if Deontay's in, Deontay's out. I just don't like what I see on offense. It's hard to bet my money on it right now. I'd rather go with the trending team and the unknown quarterback that just went crazy, and a proven receiver in D-Hop that we know if you get him the ball, he's going to do something with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's funny because I believe in the Steeler defense. I don't believe in Kenny Pickett, and I don't understand why they. I do not believe in Matt Canada, and I do not understand why they do not feed George Pickens the football. He is a true alpha wide receiver, and this man should be force fed like they do D Hop back in the day. So, I mean, okay, if that's what you guys are gonna do, you people tell you who they are. You guys need to listen to them. I'm going with the Titans plus 2.5 as well. We agree on this one at least. We got three others we're going to be talking about, but let's go back to Dynasty games, break up this beautifulness that we got. We're talking running backs, and we got some big names, big talents, Travis Etienne or DeAndre Swift.
Ooh, that's a good one. Man, I'm going Travis Etienne right now. And that's a good one. That's a tough one. You pulling my heartstrings, man. Swift is my guy, but I can't deny what the tape is showing with Travis Etienne, what it showed in college and how it's translated now that he's fully healthy. You know, the first season he lost due to injury, bounced back last year. We saw it's you know what's funny? I loved it. Hindsight's 2020. So sorry to break it up here, but last year he was killing it in terms of touches, yards per carry, and opportunity, but he wasn't getting the touchdowns. And everybody kept saying, "What's up with the touchdowns?" He fumbled a couple times on the goal line. This year, the man can't help but get touchdowns. He's on. I think it's Christian McCaffrey and then Travis Etienne for the touchdowns, right? So he's scoring at an incredible clip. I think it's going to continue. It looks very sustainable. It's not something that he's getting fluky touchdowns or the opportunity looks like the offense is going to stumble. I think the bye week's only going to help that team. They're going to come out of there fresher, more explosive on offense, and the ATN thing is a real thing. I like him long term. I would take him over Swift.
Yeah, I was a huge backer of Etienne coming out of Clemson. Went against my best judgment, and I traded Etienne for Swift. It's worked out. It's worked out in fantasy football, but I should have absolutely stuck to my guns and said Etienne is my guy because he always has been. Speed, power, wheels. Yeah, he's put together not like a Derrick Henry power, but he's got more than enough power in those legs to at least crank over some defensive backs and at least cross the goal line. I got to go with Etienne as well. He's an absolute game game wrecker, I should say. And I mean, he's just going to continue to do it. And I love what he's doing in Jacksonville right now. Kenneth Walker III or my guy off the A chain, Devin Achane.
Ooh, sorry, it broke up there. You said A-Chain, and what was the first guy?
Kenneth Walker III.
Oh, Kenneth Walker or A-Chain? Ooh, that's a nice one, too. I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker, and that one hurts because I messed that up big time in our league, the league we were talking about earlier. I don't know why I didn't keep this 23-year-old star, especially where I had him. I think I had him as a 9th-round value. Ugh, it burns. But in terms of this one, I'm going to have to go with that. Even though we saw A-Chain just go absolutely bananas in that offense, I still think he's going to be in a timeshare role. Mostert is older. He will phase out. I think the offense is conducive to bring somebody else in. It's going to be split with Kenneth. He's got a great partner in Zach Charbonnet, but when he's healthy, they're showing that he's still that 1A guy. And as long as he's fully healthy, I think that's going to be his role to exploit. He's got the talent to do it. 3 down back.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you can't beat a guy's speed like Achane, but I mean, 12.1 average per carry before he went down. Like, that's unheard of, man. He's almost got 100 carries and 12 yards per carry. Unbelievable stuff. But, yeah, it is Kenneth Walker for me as well. He's a true bell cow. This guy's got speed. His hands are improving. He can score touchdowns. And everybody's recency bias, I mean, I was almost convinced with Charbonnet coming in and being the back that was going to steal touches, but Kenneth is too damn good. And I'm with you as well over A-Chain right now. Breece Hall or Jahmyr Gibbs?
Oh, I love both those backs, but that one's easy for me. I'm going Breece Hall.
Okay.
I don't even have to think about that one. Breece Hall, for me, is arguably going to be the top RB coming off the board next year, depending on what happens with like a McCaffrey or an Eckler, as they're both getting towards 30 and above. I think Breece Hall is that next top guy. So that one's pretty easy for me in that sense. And that's no knock on Jahmyr. I'm a big Jahmyr guy. I love watching his game. Talent it's exuberant. That's the word that's coming to mind. He's lightning quick. He's lightning in a bottle, but Breece Hall to me is a full package. And as he gets healthier, it's just going to get scarier. That guy, I think he has RB1 written all over him.
Agreed. And you can't debate it right now because Gibby's going to be that just kind of like the HN type of deal, split backfield, lots of PPR upside. Will he ever get Breece Hall touches? I mean, Breece coming back from an ACL and basically making Dalvin Cook be the backup on the bench, like that says tons to what the Breece Hall is. Barring any health issues down the road, and if Aaron Rodgers does come back, I mean, Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, that is your trio, and they will eat fantasy points next season, potentially, hopefully. Hopefully not for this season, because I don't want to see Aaron come back, but you know how it goes. James Cook or Tony Pollard is the next one on my group.
That's a nice one. I like those guys. That's a nice one. Okay. I got to pause on that one. That one's not
it's not as easy,
hitting me as easy. No, that one, I like that one. Huh.
Because they both offer similar skill sets, and right now Pollard's kind of cooling off just a little bit. It's an interesting one.
If I had to pick today, which is the day you're asking the question, I would go Tony Pollard. My reason for going Tony Pollard is I think the Dallas backfield is not as threatening to him. I don't see them even searching for somebody to even compete with him in that sense. Whereas Buffalo, I think they are still kind of in that hunt and seeing if they can mix someone with like that, thunder and lightning. So I think the opportunity for Pollard to be a full-time 3-down bell cow is there. I think he has a better opportunity than James Cook. So I'm going to bet my money on one going forward. I'll go with Pollard.
And this ain't no homership for me at all. No homer business. This is unbiased evaluation always. I'm going James Cook on this one. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, what was the stance everyone took when he came out of the draft? Can he run in between the tackles? Everyone wasn't convinced. They said, no, he can't. He's an outside guy. He's a speed guy. Yes, he's got hands for days, but he can't run between tackles. He's showing it. And he's taken every opportunity so far this season, in my opinion, to showcase his talents to be the lead back in this backfield. Tread is extremely low on these tires, as he was utilized as a third back in Georgia as well. So for me, I like Tony Pollard. I truly do. But if we're talking, the argument can be had too. Can both these individuals take 250 carries from the backfield in one season? Can they do it? And we're still yet to see it, but I'm going to lean a little bit on James Cook here on this side. I like him a little bit better.
Nice. I like your argument. I'm sticking with Pollard, but I like the argument.
Fair enough. Saquon or Eckler?
I'm going to go Saquon just based on age and the dispute that Eckler had with the team earlier this year. Feels like this might be a one and done. Not too sure what his future is going to be. So yeah, I'll lay with Saquon on this one. I think he's going to have a couple more years in New York, and they clearly rely on him. You saw that game when Tyrod went down. Like they literally didn't even try to do anything else with it. Was where's Saquon? Oh, you ran out in the flat, throw to Saquon. Oh, Saquon's throw to Saquon. Oh, he's not open. Okay, just throw it over Saquon's head. But let's just at least make sure it's in Saquon's vicinity. They didn't have nothing else, which begs you to ask, why didn't you just want to pay this man? Good guy, fan favorite, great in the community, and you literally lean on him for everything. So it's crazy that they took so long to pay him, but I'm going Saquon on this one.
What did they have, 39 carries this past week, and they basically asked him to play quarterback too. So I'm with Saquon too. The volume and the talent aside, if the guy could just stay healthy for a full season, we would see glory once again. But let's move on to the next game picks that we got. It's the Miami Dolphins taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, -2.5. This one is early on in Germany. First time in Germany. Miami 6-2 ATS, and then Kansas City 5-3 against the spread. Casey's coming off that big loss to Denver. Mahomes in the flu game was not like MJ in the flu game. He did not look good. But you gotta think, man. Okay, they haven't figured out this wide receiver one spot whatsoever. Bolton is a massive loss now that he's gone with the injury with the wrist problem. Was Kansas City overlooking the Broncos in hopes like they're gonna try to play the Miami Dolphins better? Because it's a big one, man. Revenge game. Squish the fish it's not squish the fish because it's not the Buffalo Bills, but it's a big revenge game for Tyreek Hill going up against the Kansas City Chiefs in his former club.
Massive game for Tyreek. Massive game for Miami in general. They haven't beaten any of the top contenders. Everybody's been harping on the fact that they've just been beating low bottom feeder teams, right? I think I believe the average win rate was somewhere around like 30% or something like that. Super low. So they're not beating any of the top teams, which you have to do if you're going to make it far in the playoffs. So this is a big test for them. We know KC can beat just about anybody in just about any place. So we know that they're battle tested. For them, it's just more like, what are you this year? Like, what's going to be the way you break through this year? Me personally, I've been proven by Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid enough to not doubt them too much. So I see them as a team that is going through an ebb and flow, but it's not something that they can't figure out. Like you said, they're still trying to figure out that number one receiver. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that this year. I think it's going to be something that's going to be a rotating door, and they're just going to have to keep figuring out game plans to move the ball effectively week in and week out. But yeah, with that said, I'm more curious to see where you lean on this one before I dive into my pick. I think it's going to be a very interesting one, and I do believe that out of the two sides, Tyreek is the one that takes this rivalry a little bit more personal. I think
Sure.
he's going to come back this game with more to prove to them than they're going to want to prove something to him.
No, I'm with you. And I think, Tyreek is, for me, outside of extreme game plan by Andy Reid, I think this is an easy 150-yard spot for Tyreek. I think he's going to absolutely cook this secondary because, like you said, it is extremely personal to him. I don't think he wanted to leave Kansas City. I think that's the biggest thing. He had his money. They were winning Super Bowls. We didn't see really any static or beef that was saying he needed to exit Kansas City. But it was more for Andy Reid in the future, and having to pay Patrick Mahomes was obviously the issue. But for me, I'm taking the Chiefs at -2.5. I think that Miami has to prove it. You got to, in this league, I get it, okay? They're extremely explosive. They're so dynamic. Show me. You still haven't beaten a team that's of elite caliber just yet. Yes, it's still early in this season. You lost to the Bills. Now the Chiefs are coming. Your schedule's going to get a little tougher. You're going to have some bigger competition. Show me. I'm a huge fan of McDaniel, but show me. And I'm going Kansas City -2.5.
I hear you. And that's where all my thoughts were leaning. All my senses made that alignment as well. I thought, Miami, they haven't beaten a top team, like we were just saying. So they should have to prove it to me. But for some reason today, with how I was like lining up the games, I'm just kind of going with what's been trending. That was kind of the word that came to me kind of when we were talking about the picks and the games we're going to break through. So I'm like, I'm going to go with what's trending. So the first game we went through, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, I felt like Tennessee is a team that's been trending better. They're trending upwards. Pittsburgh, we're concerned with the offense. Same thing applies here. I feel like Miami, they're coming off a good week. Granted, it was against a bad team, but they're coming off a good week. They've been trending upward again. And KC, I'm concerned. I won't lie. I am concerned. They won some games where I thought they haven't played their best ball, and now they lost a really bad game against Denver. Granted, it was the flu game, but it's Denver, and they look like they really lost this game. It wasn't just a stumble. It wasn't just a play here or there where it's like, oh, the better team would have won, but they made a crucial mistake. It was straight up loss. They didn't bring it. They couldn't convert in red zone. They made crucial turnovers. They gave up, big plays to Jerry Jeudy when they needed to make stops. And Jerry Jeudy can't sniff Tyreek Hill. So I'm going Miami, man. I'm laying my 2 points on Miami. I'm like I said, I'm going with the trending teams right now.
All right.
Whoever is, it's a week-to-week league, but whoever showed me that they're kind of going in the right direction is kind of where I'm leaning. And this week, I feel like Miami is the team that can pull the upset and give KC back-to-back losses. I know that sounds crazy, but that's where I'm leaning.
Wow. I'm shocked. I'm literally speechless right now. And it's okay. I mean, you got to go bold to get those dollar bills sometimes. And I mean, okay, Miami is very good, and we know this, but I want to see it. Prove it to me, I think is part of it. You don't get a seat at the table until you prove it. I mean, I've been getting a lot of bullshit for my Bills, and I'm not even allowed at the table, man. I'm still sitting at the kiddie table when the big boys are all playing. And even though we're the elite big boys, I still got to sit in a freaking high chair, man.
Jalen Ramsey's back. That's all I'm going to say. I know what we've seen, but Jalen Ramsey's back. He's got something to prove. He's back.
Yeah.
I like what the defense is trending in the right direction as well.
Okay. We're gonna mark this one down because this one's gonna be a good one for who came out on top. But it's a good pick, no doubt. So rolling back to Dynasty games, let's talk some wide receivers. Everybody needs to know what to do, including myself, because I got some of these players as well. And it's like, what do you do with these guys? Here's a great one, man. Now with all the quarterback troubles in Minnesota, JJ or Chase? Which one are we doing here?
JJ or Chase?
Gotta pick one. Gotta pick one.
Two guys that you can't really go wrong with, but if you have to pick, I'm going Chase just because of the quarterback he's tied to long term. They're gonna pay Chase. He's gonna break the bank. They better back up that Brinks truck after the
Mm.
season here. Him and Joe are gonna be together for a while. You got, they're friends on and off the field, so I don't think you're gonna see them separating. On the flip side, JJ, he just lost his quarterback. His quarterback's getting older. We have no idea what they're gonna do in the future. They're not in a position to draft high. So the quarterback they're going to bring in is probably going to be some sort of a free agent. Just too many question marks over there. So I would go Chase with this one. Yeah, final answer. Jamar
Yeah,
Chase.
and I mean, they're saying that JJ was saying he wants Kirk back next season, saying that he wants him back. It's his quarterback. Otherwise, he's going to jump ship too. So we'll see. It's an interesting, but I think as of today, as we have to speak of what we know, and as of today, it is Chase for me as well. Diggs or AJ Brown, grown ass man.
Oh, we going AJ Brown, man. AJ's
What?
ascending. We're
What?
going AJ Brown. Yo, Diggs is on fire. Diggs
On
is
fire.
proving himself, but that's we're about 2-3 years into the Diggs Josh Allen experiment. We're only year 2 for AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. They're ascending together, and like we've just said about Jamar and them, these guys are friends on and off the field. This year, after the little spat on the sidelines, all you've seen is connection after connection after connection. So yeah, I got to go AJ Brown, man. This guy's competing to be the best receiver in football right now. That's a legit title that he's going after.
It's true, and it's factual. And I mean, when we talked, when he did have that argument on the sidelines where it looked like he was whining or complaining or whatever it was, not getting the football. I'm okay with that type of stuff as so long as you back up the play, and he has done nothing but over exceed for what he did, what he showed on the sideline. We got to talk Dynasty factual information. Diggs is 28 years old, going 29. The drop-off does happen even for wide receivers as they start to go. I still think Diggs got a good 5 years left on him. Will it be with Buffalo? That's the question. Is he going to continue after his contract's done? I mean, that is a big one. They just paid A.J. Brown, so I got to go with Diggs. I got to go with Diggs. He's been consistent for too long. I'm gonna roll with my guy, Stephon.
It's fair. It's fair.
It's okay. George Pickens or Jordan Addison. Let's flip gears because we're talking about our teams. It's always biased.
Oof. George Pickens or Jordan Addison. That was the next one.
That's the next one.
Man, I like me some George Pickens. You know that I'm a big Pickens guy, but that quarterback situation is just, I can't overlook it. And Addison seems to produce regardless of the quarterback right now. I'm going to lean with Addison. I'm going to go Addison on this one. That one was tough for me, but I'm going to go Jordan Addison. I know he's got JJ in front of him, but he's been too sweet right now. I like what he's doing. I like how he's producing week in and week out. And I just don't like what Matt Canada and what's going on in Pittsburgh, although I love the talent of George. If I had to pick today, I'm going to go Jordan Addison.
Yeah, both wide receivers were very highly touted by me coming out of their respective draft classes. And I mean, Pickens outside, UGA product, blew out his knee and fell down the draft board. And I told everyone, you guys are crazy to think this man should have fallen down the board. He's a true alpha wide receiver. This guy, give him a quarterback and he's going to be able to produce. The question you have with great talent, great young talent, can they produce without a quarterback? Pickens has proven this as well, that he can. We're going to now see it with Addison and JJ without Kirk Cousins. But, I mean, they just don't give him enough targets in Pittsburgh to warrant me to the warm and fuzzies to say, I'm good with it over in Addison. Addison is a pure separator, pure route runner, and he's proven that he can score touchdowns. So I'm going with my guy, Addy. There is no question about that one whatsoever. Next one on my board is CeeDee Lamb or Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is a nice one.
That is a nice one. If it's strictly PPR format, I might lean with Amon-Ra. I like what him and Goff are doing in terms of their connection in PPR. If you're talking half PPR or standard leagues, I would lean more CeeDee. He's got more touchdown upside, in my opinion. He's got the bigger play upside for those touchdowns. But that one's a good one. I think those guys are fairly even, in my opinion, especially moving forward with their ages and their situations. I like both their opportunities moving forward. They're both kind of in that 7-8 range to me moving forward as wide receivers. If you're making me pick today, I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb just because I like touchdowns. when I'm going to go for if I'm going to take a swing between two guys, I'm going to swing with the guy with the higher touchdown upside.
Yeah, and I mean it's they're both unbelievable talents. Both my guys coming out of their drafts as well. I called him on Raw a Bobby Trees clone, and everyone's gonna say, "Well, Robert Woods is past his prime." This was L.A. Bobby Trees, so it was justified back then. Okay, relax. But CeeDee Lamb is my guy. I think that he is a true alpha wide receiver. He can take over games. I don't care what Sherman's talking about, that he's not a true wide receiver one. He is absolutely a wide receiver one. I'm going CeeDee. This last one, man, you're going to get a chuckle out of this one because it constantly is the problem, Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson.
Ooh. Yeah, that's been our little battle for a while, but you know where I'm going with that one. And I feel better about it every day. I won't lie to you. I was going to text you the other day and be like, that Garrett's separating, right? Like you just saw that performance and then you saw your boy take one off the helmet. And I was going to message you, be like, the gap's widening, my friend.
Yes,
I'm going Garrett Wilson here. I'm sorry. I love Garrett Wilson's talent. Like he's got Zach throwing the ball. We know Zach is not there yet. And just wait. That's all I'm going to say. Just wait. When he gets Aaron Rodgers in a real game for the entire 4 quarters, we are going to see what what Garrett is all about. I think this guy is phenomenal. The potential for him to be like a top 5 wide receiver, I believe, is there in terms of his ability. He just needs the opportunity. So long term, I'm riding heavily Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, and man, it hurts. It hurts. I'm almost having to concede this pick because we got to go for point totals. And if I was to tell you right now that it's Olave over Wilson, then I'd be doing everybody a disservice who listens to my advice. So I got to switch. I'm still, CO2 is my guy, and I'm never going to get off the bandwagon. I think his talent is just off the charts good. He came off that speeding ticket. Head might not have been in the game. He's taking passes off his head. Nothing's looking good in New Orleans right now because you got the new captain check down in Derek Carr. So I called it out last week. For my start and sit, I said Garrett Wilson with a Zach Wilson was going to be able to ball out, and he gave us 15 half PPR, and he did ball out for us. I got to switch gears for Dynasty right now. It is Garrett Wilson over Chris Olave. As much as that hurts, man, I think I just threw up in my mouth just a little bit. But we got the next game pick. We're talking your guys. Dallas going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles favored by 3.5. Dallas is 5-2 ATS, where the Eagles are 4-2-2 against the spread. And I mean, okay, what can we really say about your team right now? As I'm a viewer, you watch the team more than I do. I catch every game as possible with multiple screens. Philly's looking very balanced, and I think that's a very good, very impressive thing with this offense. Yes, they saw some stumble, and they were trying to figure it out. Where they mix and match, this is kind of the aspect that I see. So now finally you got A.J. Brown removing himself from the pack and saying, I'm the true number one. You feed me the ball, I'm going to make things happen. Where it was Smitty had the dropping problem a little bit for a couple of weeks there, was dealing with that ankle injury, and then they kind of went to Goddard a little bit. And then now it's like, well, pick your poison. Who you going to throw to this week? Who you going to match up against? And Smitty's back on track, catching everything to come his way. Goddard's been very reliable. And then everything runs through A.J. Brown in the pass game. And then still, with the last 2 games, Swift not running as well as we thought he should have been, you're still winning games through the air. It's a good matchup, and it's a great divisional matchup. So, I mean, where are you going with this one? It's a very interesting game.
Ooh, it's going to be a battle, man. It's going to be a battle. And I remember I told you on your show a couple weeks ago that Dak Prescott's no joke. I said I'm not off the wagon here. I was never like a supporter. Obviously, he's a Dallas Cowboy, but in terms of the talent and seeing what he's been able to do on the football field, I always believed in his skill sets and that he was going to bounce back, and he's shown that. This is going to be a a bloodbath, man. I'm nervous about it. But to me, and I know people might say, you're a Philly guy, you got all your green in the back, but they're the best team in the league right now, balanced wise. I think we are the most balanced offense in the league. I think we can. You could take away one aspect of what we do, and we can do something else with the ball. I think we've shown that multiple times. They can. You could throw to AJ. We could feed Dallas. We could feed Devontae. He had a bit of a dropping problem earlier, but that's not in his resume. We could feed the running backs. We got Rashad Penny chilling on practice squad. People forgot we signed Rashad in the offseason. We still got Shad out there chilling. This is a team that I think is well balanced. The O-line is still dominant, and they're just trying to figure out their way on defense. I think they have some aging corners that played maybe above our expectations last year. I mean, we thought they would do the same thing this year, and it's not quite there. We got some linebackers that are in and out the lineup. Um, I just think there's some schematic issues defensively, and just kind of finding their niche, or I guess their what their identity is on defense is still kind of out there. But in terms of offense, I think we figured it out. It's just execute and not make these silly mistakes like butt fumbles on
Yeah.
our QB sneaks. But outside of that, I like what Philly's doing. With all that said, though, like I said at the beginning of the show, man, I'm riding with the teams that are trending in the right directions.
Uh-oh.
The
Uh-oh.
Eagles are trending in the right direction offensively, but the turnovers are a problem I cannot ignore. They've been consecutive game in and game out, and the defense is getting exposed on the back end. Dallas is coming off another dominant performance, so I'm going to lay my 3 points on Dallas, man. I'm going to go Dallas on this one. Plus, I think Philly can pull out the win because we're at home. At the beginning of the season, I thought we'd split with Dallas. Just full disclosure, I said, probably a split, which usually divisional matchups are with two good teams. At home, I think we can still pull the win out, but like I said, man, I'm going with the trends. Dallas is coming in hot. Philly's playing good ball, but not their best ball, and I still think those turnovers are a problem. And against a defense like this that forces turnovers, I'm nervous, man.
You know what it was about this one that made me intrigued the most? Dallas coming off the bye week and not having a letdown because they knew this game was coming. The biggest that's why I had Dallas -7 last week, and then I switched it late because I was sitting here saying, man, they might have a letdown because they really are focused on the Eagles. But it was my mistake because coming off the bye kind of mitigated that, and they're saying, well, we're extremely focused on getting a get-right game, piggybacking off how we entered the bye week, which they played well as well. But this one here, and I mean, where is this game being played? This is in Philly.
It's in Philly.
It's in Philly. So I mean, if it was in Dallas, I'm with you. And this spread I hate so much because I was hoping for a 4-pointer. I really was. But Vegas knows, man. They know how to bait us all. And at least, we saw back-to-back weeks of Dallas utilizing a Brandon Cooks in the offense. That was very important for me to see. You went into the bye using him. I was like, hey, replicate that one more time. You have a speedster in Cooks. Yeah, he didn't see a lot. 3 for whatever it was, 40 yards and a touchdown. But, I mean, at least you're still utilizing the man. And Ferguson got his sprinkles of touches. And then, okay, it's at the detriment of a Tony Pollard where he has not looked good the past several weeks. This could be the week they lean on a Pollard, kind of give you guys a little bit of, confusion. But I mean, you guys have some injuries on the defensive front as well. But this is the game that you guys, if you stop the run, you force Dak to play football. Man, it's a tough one. I'm still okay. My final picks come out on Saturdays on Twitter, so definitely hit me up on Twitter. Right now, as of today, I'm going to go Dallas +3 as well. But it is very close for me to change this to a 3, especially with the Eagles at home, because I think that they are playing damn good football, and the Dallas Cowboys defense can be exposed from time to time, but they play, subpar teams like the Rams, makes us have the recency bias to say Eagles can't do it, so I have a feeling by Saturday I will change this pick, but as of today, I'll take the points with Dallas.
I like what the Eagles offense potentially can do to isolate Micah Parsons, to attack that defense. I like the tempo that they're playing at, the mixture that they're moving the ball with. But I just feel like going against the Cowboys in this spot, it just feels like we might have to play too perfect. Whereas Dallas, I feel like Dak's coming in confident. He's already confident against the Eagles, in my opinion. He plays them. He just seems to always be on his A game whenever he matches up against us. But then on top of that, he's actually confident overall in what he's doing just with the offense right now. So it's just a spot where I just feel like their offense is going to be able to move the ball on us consistently. And we're going to hope that our offense can consistently do that without making those mistakes they've been making week in and week out. So that's where I just got to see it. I got to see us play a clean game on offense. No butt fumbles, no interceptions, none of that. And then I probably ride with the Eagles. But until then, right now, I just feel like Dallas is playing cleaner football overall.
And it's hard to argue. And if it's 4 points, if it's literally -4 come Friday evening, I'm gonna be taking Dallas 4 points +4, and I wouldn't even think about it. If it's 3 still, I'm gonna likely side towards the Eagles. I just feel it, man. Fly Eagles, fly time, man. But Dynasty games, tight end. Let's finish off with this last position. And I'm going to pull on your heartstrings here because I know you love this man. Laporta or Andrews?
Dynasty, Laporta or Andrews? We going Sam Laporta, baby. And that's not an easy pick. Mark Andrews is a stud, but this boy is he's the real deal. Like I told you before, I was big on Laporta. I got him in every league I could, and it was all about the opportunity. The way they shipped out Hawkinson, not because of the opportunity or the lack of production, but more so because of the the play set and the finances. They were just looking at building and spending money elsewhere. They were looking at the draft upcoming, in my opinion. They saw some options, right? There was a few good tight ends in this draft. They had their eyes set on Laporta, moved up in the draft and got him, and the rest is history. I think that those actions spoke louder than we thought, and now we're seeing those actions transition into production on the field, and that's just going to grow. He's only going to get more familiar with the blocking schemes, more familiar with the route running, more familiar with his quarterback, and I think sky's the limit for him, man, especially in Detroit where they have a very good mixture. So you can never key in on anything. You never know when it's run pass. You never know when it's a play action. You never know when it's an Amon-Ra play or it's going to take a deep shot to Jameson or we're going to work the intermediates with Laporta. So I just like the opportunity that he's in a lot. Not to say that Mark's not a great opportunity, but with this one, if you had to pick, I'm going with youth. If they were the
100%.
same age, I would probably still lean Mark, but I got to go youth here because his opportunity is fantastic, and then he's younger.
Absolutely. I'm with it too, man. If we're talking dynasty purposes only, it's Laporta for me as well. I mean, we saw what they did with Hawkinson. It was money, but it was the offense was already set up for a premier tight end to take advantage of it anyway. So I'm with you. I'm with Laporta all the way. Ingram or Dallas Goedert?
Ooh, those two, that's a good one because they're kind of both in that age range where they're kind of phasing out.
Do you see what I do here? I make it difficult.
Yeah, that's a good one, and I might surprise you with this. I might go Ingram.
Ooh.
I might go Ingram. I think that Dallas Goedert has those spike games. He can do the boomer bust, but he can have those. He can have a few games where he's not going to touch the ball, and that's just the nature of the offense. We know if the ball gets to the 2-yard line, we're tush pushing.
Yep.
So Dallas Goedert, he ain't doing nothing but pushing Jalen's ass to get a touchdown.
That's true.
That doesn't get you points in fantasy football, unfortunately. So there's things like that that just knock his production. Whereas I see Evan Ingram ceiling isn't super high, but he's consistently getting like 6 to 7 targets a game. It's just he's not getting touchdowns right now. But we know touchdowns can be fluky, right? You can go a season where you get 1 or 2, you can go a season where you get 8 or 9, and it's the same type of offense, same type of opportunities. It's just where you fall on the 2-yard line as opposed to falling in the end zone. I'm going to lean with Ingram on this one just because, like I said, I like his opportunity more in the offense. I think they lean on him a little bit more on a week-to-week basis. And yeah, I'll go with him on that one. Yeah. They don't have the 2 alphas on the outside like Philly does.
It's true, and this is a very tough one for me as well because I do like the skill set of Dallas Goedert over what Ingram does right now. But Ingram's floor has been very safe. I mean, he's getting you anywhere from like the 6.5 to 8.5 every single week. And you want to see the maturation continue in this Jags offense where it's going to be automatic moving forward. You know, they're still struggling to even get Calvin Ridley involved in this offense, and everyone's claiming Ridley's a bust. It's because of chemistry building. We got to figure this thing out, man. Similarly to how the Eagles figured it out and just said, okay, A.J. Brown is the number one guy, just force feed him. Everyone else gets the scraps after that. It's kind of got to be like that in Jacksonville as well. And I mean, for me, I get what you're saying. It's just, man, when the upside goes to Dallas Goedert for me, and that's kind of where I'm going in this sense. I'm going to go for the upside. I'm going to go for the TDs. I'm going to go for the yards. I'm going to go right now for, quote-unquote, the better offense. I'll lean slightly towards a Dallas Goedert in that respect, but it's tough.
That's a close one, man. That one's a close one.
It's close, man. Pitts or Dalton Kincaid?
Oof. I got to go with Kincaid on that because he's tied to Josh Allen and Pitts is tied to nothing right now.
To nothing.
We both love Pitts coming out of college. We saw what he did with an aging Matt Ryan, and we saw what Matt Ryan turned into once he left Atlanta. So that's a surprise that Pitts was able to put up 1,000 yards with that at quarterback. Hats off to him for that. I give him props for that. And he hasn't quite even had that type of quarterback play since. So I do believe in Kyle Pitts as a talent 100%. But until you see the quarterback situation drastically improve, you can't tie anything to that. I wouldn't hitch myself to that at all. And then on the flip side, you got the superstar over there. You got your boy Josh. So I love Kincaid. I told you I wanted him to just get more opportunity. I understand his blocking isn't quite at the aptitude of Dawson Knox, so that's why he wasn't on the field. But I would have just found ways, man. F it. I'd find ways to play him in the slot, play him wherever.
Agreed.
Just the talent is too much, and I believe they need it. Right? They've been leaning too much on Josh to do certain things, and too much on Steph. I feel like they need it. So let's go Kincaid. I'm all about that going forward. I would get him wherever I can. Dalton Kincaid, big time.
Yeah,
Heavy.
I'm in full agreement right here. I mean, if we're talking pure skill set and talent, it's Pitts over Kincaid for me. Obviously, in that sense, I think Pitts is more athletic and he's got better wheels. But Kincaid is that full package deal that you're looking for in the wide receiver. The man just doesn't drop passes where a Pitts does. So it's kind of like what you're kind of looking for. You pick your poison in that respect as well. But the offense, you got to look for the offense at this point. Josh is not going anywhere in the long term. So, I mean, he's stuck in Buffalo for a long time. So you got to believe the Bills have figured it out the last 2 weeks. Dalton finally got his first touchdown in the league. So you got to think it's a sign of things to come, and he's just going to keep balling out. I'm going Dalton Kincaid as well. Last one I got is George Kittle or Hawkinson, TJ Hawkinson.
Kittle or Hawkinson?
Let's go with the big
Kittle
boys.
or Hawkinson. Oof. You know, until that Kirk Cousins injury, I would have said Hawkinson. I probably would have leaned Hawk. But now that that injury is sustained and we really don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be going forward, and we've seen a pretty good connection between Kittle and Purdy in San Fran. I'm going to lean Kittle, at least for the next couple of years. I do think that Purdy's the guy. He's going to be there, at least for the foreseeable future. I like his talent. I like his floor. And I like his connection with Kittle, Debo, and Ayuk. So I'll lean Kittle there. I think him and Kittle, they've shown, especially in the red zone, to have a pretty good connection. So I would go there, even though he's getting older. I know he's only got a couple years probably left in him. But Hawkinson's question marks around that offense are too big for me. And then he's got two alphas coming in. Those two guys that he has playing alongside him are going to be studs in this league. Obviously, Justin already is arguably the best receiver, and Addison, he's going to push for that top 10, 12 receiver as well. So I'm going over to San Fran. I'm going with Kittle on that one.
Yeah, it's tough to argue. I mean, with Hawkinson, okay, you know what I do believe? Even if a JJ does come back and say it is Dobbs right now and say that is the future of the Minnesota Vikings with a quarterback of relatively similar skill set of a Dobbs, I think Hawk's value is actually going to increase because quarterbacks in that respect will, typically go to the safety blanket and find the tight end, the easy out, the quick third down, for a first down. So I kind of believe that his PPR upside would increase, where Kittle with Purdy right now has been very streaky for me. He's been the 3 touchdown game and then, only 2 catches this game. But I do like the skill set of both men. I think they're very good. Right now, it is very tough to say without a Kirk Cousins. God almighty, it's such a tough one. I'll probably lean Kittle right now just because Cousins is out. If Cousins comes back, then I'll obviously say TJ Hawkinson, but it's still a tough one. But let's finish this thing off with the game pick, the last one we got on the board, number 4. These are the bets you got to take. Make that money, earn that money. Dollar Bills. Buffalo Bills versus the Cincinnati Bengals. -2 for the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Bills are 3-5 ATS, if you can believe it. Bengals are 3-1. It's not good. And I mean, this is the first contest since the Damar Hamlin bad mojo. It's just not good. No bueno. I am terrified. I am not lying to y'all. As a Bills fan, I am shitting my pants. I'm scared to death of this contest. But the Bills, I mean, they're coming off that Thursday Night Football victory versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They let the Bucs come back. So right now, okay, everyone was all criticizing the Bills for not having the final kill shot. That game, the Bills should have won by at least 30 points. That's how that game went, and they allowed Tampa to come back. I understand. I'm looking at the positives, and I put it on Twitter as well. I said the Bills, my analogy was the Bills are a Lamborghini who are in desperate need of an engine rebuild, okay? The Pistons are misfiring, and this was one of those games where they had to get it right, okay? And they used Dalton Kincaid. They used Gabe. They used Khalil Shakir. So it was good to see all the other pieces being utilized outside of a Stephon Diggs. So now it's like you fixed 4 Pistons. You still got 4 Pistons to fix. So that's kind of how I see my Bills right now. And then going up against Joey B and the way he looked versus the 49ers, recency bias definitely is saying Vegas is putting that to the spread. I got an interesting pick for this one, but I'm kind of curious to see where you're going now.
This one was tough for me, man. This one's tough. Like I told you, I've been trying to lean on the what's trending and how teams are trending coming in. Both these teams they're interesting. I like what Cincinnati's been doing the last few weeks, right? They are clearly trending in an upward trajectory. Joe Burrow's getting healthier. What he was doing, escaping the pocket, breaking sacks, I was shocked, just shocked to see that he was doing that. He made some plays. He made San Francisco look average on defense. That's back-to-back weeks now. Kirk Cousins did it to him, and then Joe did it to him. So I'm not sure if it was San Fran or if it was Joe, a bit of both. But Buffalo looked good to me. They dominated the game. I picked them to cover that spread. I thought they were definitely going to handle Tampa Bay in all facets. Shocked to see them let Tampa Bay come back. Was even more shocked to see that game had a chance for Buffalo to lose the game. And that concerns me because after seeing what they were able to do when they step up and move the ball around and spread it, and what we expected from Kincaid, and then what you've been preaching about your boy Shakir all these times, I saw it all unfold. So I thought I was getting a nice showing of what Buffalo's going to be moving forward. And then to see the complimentary football not show up on the other side of the ball and close out the game really has me worried. I'm going to lean Cincinnati, man. I'm going to take Cincinnati on this one.
It hurts.
I know it hurts you. I know it does. But I got to go with, like I said, I'm going trends. I went against my own Eagles on this, even though it hurt, and I'm going against your Bills. I just like what Cincinnati's doing. And it's not just last week. It's probably, I'd say the last 2 to 3 weeks, they've been trending upwards. They found the running game a little bit last week, too. I saw a lot more of Joe Mixon. He had some juice in those legs.
That's the big one.
I just think that overall, the team is in a better overall spot than where Buffalo is. But I do think this is going to be a close game, man. I really think this is a coin flip. I can't see either team running away with this game. This really feels like a battle all the way to the end.
Have we ever seen Joe Burrow start a season healthy? And I think that's always why they come out the gate slow. And as I continue to look back, like, what did he have? He had the ACL, I believe, or what did he have? I can't even remember. There was the appendix. That's one of them. And then
He had an appendix. Yeah.
He had an appendix, and then he had this calf issue. And then the year before that, I think he was coming off the ACL. So that's what it was. So he started slow out the gates, and that was to be expected. And everyone's saying, well, these guys should be high octane. Look how they're looking. And my biggest problem, you know me, I've been a Joe Mixon supporter through and through since he came out of OU. I've been a big fan of his. The issue that I had with Joe Mixon wasn't even necessarily utilization in this offense from Zach Taylor, but how Joe Mixon looks on the field. This past week was like rookie season Joe Mixon. I don't know what the hell. I mean, the shot up in his legs. Like, what are you guys shooting up in this man? Because he looked good. He looked fresh. He looked fast. He looked decisive. His hands looked good. I mean, it was a completely different Joe Mixon than I've seen in basically the entire season, even going back to the last 5 games of last year. He does look good, and that does scare me a lot because if they do get Joe Mixon rolling, that play-action pass is going to be working. And yes, the Bills, they did make some splash at the trade deadline. They got Uncle Lenny, Leonard Fournette, and then Rasul Douglas, which I'm a big fan of. I didn't think Douglas was going to be on the radar for a trade, but this man's ability in the zone is going to be unbelievable. I do not think he's going to suit up in this game. If he does, we're likely going to see curtailed snap counts back. But, I mean, there's going to be so much emotion for this game. So, to me, it's only going to happen in 2 ways. The Bills are going to be ramped up to do this for DeMar so that they get the bad mojo stink off. Or they're going to be terrified like I am walking into this stadium, and they're going to lay an absolute egg. So, I'm going to roll with my Bills. I'm going Bills +2. I think Josh Allen's going to come out like the lion we know he is. And we need to eat some Bengal Tiger Cats, man.
Hey, power to you, man. It's a bold pick. I like it. I like it on the road. Like I said, I think it's going to be come down to the final drive here. I think both teams are going to be really prepared for this one. I don't see somebody getting smashed or mollywopped. Don't worry. I know you're scared because you're a Bills fan, but you guys are coming out ready for this one. But I also think the Bengals are equally as ready. It's going to be a bloodfest. These are two teams that see themselves up there with the Chiefs, the Ravens, where they're trying to ascend to. And I think this is one of those games where both teams are going to look to say, hey, you guys pay attention because we're here. We're here and we're here to stay. So get ready. I think Joe and Josh Allen are going to ball out in this game.
I foresee it too. I see weather could be a problem too. There's some rain in the forecast, but we'll see. I'm hoping that it's going to be a good one. Regardless of what we say, it's going to be a good one. But like I said, man, for all point spread picks, I do drop them on Saturdays. I believe you drop them on early Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
Early Sundays or Saturdays, yeah, either. Depending on the week, either Saturdays or early Sunday.
Perfect, man. So, yeah, if you guys want all the picks every single week, you go to my Twitter handle and Eric's Twitter handle, and you will find what we are talking. But there you have it. That is Fantasy Football Podcast for your Week 9. It's always good times to discuss football, a little bit of a mix. We love betting on football games, and it gives us the opportunity to talk both fantasy and betting, man.
For sure. Good times as usual. Can't wait to do it again, man.
Perfect, man. So nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give us your thoughts. Who y'all picking on the spreads? You guys bettors as well. Drop your picks in the comments. We can debate it out as always, but we'll see you next time. I am out.